This is another video brought to you by the Ichiban Productions. Like, comment, subscribe. So welcome everyone, happy days are here again, and my goodness, we're talking about some seriously happy days. We've got it, it's the Nintendo Switch OLED. I am super excited, I can't wait to open it up, bust it out, do a comparison. Oh, I can't even tell you how excited I am. Now these bad boys have been like gold dust to get hold of, but my goodness, my girlfriend, she's pulled it out the bag. She actually managed to get one. I'm absolutely marking out when I got it. She couldn't even wait for my birthday to give it to me, so I had it as an early birthday present. I am actually over the moon. For those of you that don't know much about the Nintendo Switch, which rock have you been under? So Nintendo have released a brand new version with an OLED screen. I think it's got bigger memory, it's got a new dock, it's in glorious white. Oh, let's stop the talking. Let's take a look at the box so we can get inside. On the front, we've got the glorious visage. It is the new Nintendo Switch OLED. So it looks absolutely identical to the old one, but it's not because the screen's bigger. It's also technically a little bit wider. So if you've got any accessories for the Nintendo Switch, it's not guaranteed to fit, especially if it's like a grippy back pad and stuff like that. So we've got the OLED here. I got it in white. The other options were blue and red, but it's all about the white. On the side, we've got the new details, so it's a 7-inch, 64 gig. The old one was 32, so we got way more memory to mess around with. We've got a new improved stand, because you know the old one was terrible. I used to stick the old one up and the back flipped off and all that. Nah. New Switch dock as well, with a LAN port and everything. On the back, we got those promo pictures. If only there was somebody smiling, that would be me there. And on the other side, we got other stuff here, which you can pause and read if you want. That's what's inside the box. Anyway, you know what's inside the box, so let's crack it open and have a look inside. It is always a treat to open a brand new console, so I'm going to treasure this memory forever. So, here we go. Try not to give you the old serial code that you can just steal from me. Oh... Here we are met with the glorious picture of the Joy-Cons and the console itself. I personally think the Joy-Cons in white are an absolute delight. I don't know, did that rhyme? It did sound good. But here they are. You know what to expect from the Joy-Cons. Ooh, it was quite interesting. I've been using my old Joy-Cons for ages, and the Joy-Con drift hasn't sunk in for me. But these ones, they seem a bit more stiff, a bit more responsive. You know, it's nice to have a nice new pair of Joy-Cons. Beautiful. The console itself, it looks roughly about the same size, but we'll do a comparison in a little bit. But the obviously the screen is much bigger. By bigger, I mean it's a bit about an inch bigger. But it's OLED. You know, if you don't know what OLED is, it means each individual pixel is lit, which means you get the glorious whites and the vivid blacks. So it's the best quality screen that, you know, some people argue you can get. But here it is, and there it is. We'll open it up and have a nice little look in more detail in just 1 second. Whilst we're digging into the rest of the box, the OLED screen does have a sort of screen protector on that I know some people online have been trying to gouge off. No, you leave that one on. So what have we got here? We got ourselves our typical, oh my goodness, here we go. It's the typical power brick that you get. It's 3-pin because of course we're in the UK. USB-C, you know how I love the USB-C. We got ourselves a HDMI cable. I have no doubts that this is not going to be a 4K HDMI cable, but it'd be more than good enough for the 1080p of the Nintendo Switch. What else we got here? We got ourselves our Joy-Con little rail grip things with the wrist tape, and so you don't fling the controller at the screen. I never really use these. They're a nice idea, a nice little touch. Be nice to compare them to the other ones, which we'll do in a little bit. And last but not least, what have we got here? We got ourselves the Joy-Con controller grip. It looks absolutely identical to the other one. Again, we'll check that one out in just 1 second. Before we get to the dock, I saw this cheeky little compartment, which I think has the documentation in here. And there it is, the Nintendo Switch. Important information. Let's check it out. So here we go. You plug it in, the dock. You know, you play it, the kickstand. Oh, no, the new one's there. Important health and safety information. Don't submerge it. Ooh. We've got ourselves some new OLED little docks and ports and stuff. We'll check all those out. Anyway, reading some prisoners, so we don't want none of that. And it's probably the time a lot of you been waiting for. Let's check out the dock. The dock looks to be in glorious white to match the rest of the console. Beautifully wrapped, of course, in a bit of bubble wrap. So here we go, bubble wrap, plastic, and here we go. Out comes the dock. I'm literally so excited. Ooh, nice. Completely off camera, so you totally missed all that fun. we got ourselves the console. Notice how it's got the round edges now, the Nintendo Switch logo on the front. On the side, we still got the 2 USB ports, and on the back, HDMI. Now, my understanding is the back, yeah, it clips off this time instead of being dangling down. We've got ourselves the USB power adapter, so that's for the power in the dock. We've got the HDMI out, and that there is the LAN. So Gone has the USB-A port at the back, replaced with a LAN port, which I know is important for some people. I think it's a pretty good addition, especially those people who like playing a bit of competitive multiplayer. Got a bit of grip at the front, and it was quite rubberized inside. I don't remember the other one being like rubberized inside. Anyway, so what we're going to need to do now is, well, I think I'm going to leave the video here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to unbox the rest of it, charge it up, because you know I ain't turning that bad boy on without fully charging it. I'm going to transfer the data across, I'm going to let you know how the transfer process went, and then we're going to come back and do a cheeky comparison to the old Switch, and ultimately answer the ultimate question, is it worth the upgrade? My gut says already, yes it is. And I'm back, like I said I'd be back. It's been about a month, I haven't filmed anything, you know, I've had a bit of time off the old filming, but I'm back and I'm ready to take the channel to the new blistering heights that it can go to. And ultimately, I think after that period of time, I think I am thoroughly qualified to tell you, is it a worthy upgrade? Let's find out. First thing I think we need to talk about, we got to talk about that screen. We got the OLED on the top and a normal Switch on the bottom. Now, what I tried to do is to get a bit of matching comparison gameplay, but because of the way Nintendo is, it doesn't like you having sharing software and playing things on 2 consoles and all that trash. So what I did instead, I've used some screenshots that I've taken. So we've got a screenshot at the top, screenshot at the bottom. Both of these are maximum brightness, just to prove it to you. There it is, maximum brightness there, and maximum brightness there. Now, ultimately, I think, you know, you could argue it's the camera, the lighting in the room, things like this. But I can tell you from my honest, genuine opinion, the OLED and the colours on the OLED are so much more rich and so much more powerful. I think it really, really does make the screen pop. And of course, that's the benefit of OLED. You know, the screen picture is absolutely vibrant. That's definitely a worthy upgrade. Little bit of a cheeky cut here, and what I've done is move to another screenshot, and the one thing I want to draw your attention to here is the overall increase in screen size. It doesn't look a huge amount when you're looking at it straight through the old camera, but I tell you, when playing it, that little bit extra really does make a difference. But I guess it's all diminishing returns. I mean, you know, you get used to the bigger screen and then you think, oh, okay, that's just normal. But actually going back and looking at the original Switch with the black borders around there, it really does bring out how much bigger the OLED screen is. And also, the other thing I noticed I don't think is quite coming through, is just how vibrant some of the colours are on the OLED. Like, that red is super rich. And for comparison purposes, I dropped the brightness down to half, because let's face it, you're probably not going to be playing your Switch on maximum brightness all the time. Overall, the screen is a 10 on 10 upgrade, absolutely superb. Onto the back of the Switches, the next biggest upgrade, of course, is the kickstand. I mean, my goodness, look at that cheap, tacky kickstand. I mean, if you ever had a Switch and you tried to use that, you know, it breaks straight off and you got to put it back on. And anyway, it's super annoying. On the new OLED, we've got ourselves our mega flexible stand. It can go multiple different angles. There's quite a bit of stiffness to it, so you can hold it at different angles there. The texture on the back of the Switches are also different. It feels very metallic on that one, whereas this one definitely feels like some cheap plastic. Some people prefer having the SD card popping out the bottom. I mean, can you see that? Oh god, I'm going to break it there. Anyway, so SD card pumps out down there, whereas it goes to the side on that one. Another big difference is the speaker ports are down there on the original Switch, whereas the Switch OLED, I mean, let's see if I can show you that. I mean, I don't know if it's coming through, but there's the speakers there. Now, the speakers are meant to be upgraded on the Switch OLED. For me, it's not a noticeable big difference. For me, I didn't notice a huge difference, but then again, I've not played the original Switch enough to go back to it to hear the comparison between the two. But the sound was good on the Switch. I guess it's even better on the OLED. For me, for the sound, I'm not going to post much of a comment on that because I personally didn't notice much of the difference. Next thing I wanted to show you was the top of the Switch is how they're slightly different. The power buttons are circled there, where it's a bit more of an oval there. I personally like the oval feel to it. The rocking for the volume, slightly bigger, a bit more responsive there. The vent is very, very open on the original Switch, which is a dust magnet if you're going to use it on stand-up tabletop mode, where it's a bit more grilled on that side. Again, we've got the audio in, the 3.5 headphone jack to go in. And then we got the card slots. Now I know some people have complained about the card slot on the OLED. Ooh, let's see if I can open it now. Look at me blocking the camera. I don't have a problem with it. I don't think it's this thing that goes, oh, it's gonna break, it's gonna fall off. No, it's about the same for me. One big thing I did notice is particularly just putting them both in tabletop mode is when you look at the bottom of the original Switch, there's like nothing underneath, no grip or anything. The only grippy bit is a bit of rubber that's on the kickstand. However, clever, and I think this is really subtle but clever by Nintendo, is if you look at the bottom of the Switch here, it's got itself rubberized feet there and there. I mean, that actually makes a hell of a difference when trying to put it in tabletop mode. It is really quite an impressive addition. And it's something so subtle and something so small. But again, Nintendo, you know, you're thinking of everything. A couple of other things I noticed that I wanted to comment on. Of course, the OLED has 64 gigs of internal memory, but let's face it, you're going to have an SD card, so it's not going to make a big difference. The OG Switch only had 32. One massive big difference that I personally noticed, and that's probably to do with the age of my original Switch and how much use it's had, is the battery in the original Switch is rubbish. Honestly, it's draining so quickly. I think it's just, you know, it's had a bashing. You know, these lithium-ion batteries won't last forever, but I tell you what, I can seriously notice the difference in the OLED. The battery on it is better. I mean, I can't believe how I put it with the poor battery in the original Switch. But again, it's through use more than anything else. But having a nice new fresh battery, which is meant to be increased capacity, is definitely a welcomed addition. The other thing I faffed around with for a while to try and show you guys is, in fact, the Switch OLED is ever so slightly bigger than the normal Nintendo Switch. I mean, it's marginal. I mean, I cannot, you know, no matter how I position the Switch here, I can't do it justice to show you the difference. It's literally millimeters. Now, for me, that doesn't make a big difference, but I know for some of you guys, you've got your grips that go around the Switch. Now, if you've got an original Switch and it's a really tight-fitted grip that goes around it, that ain't going to fit this. However, if it's a, you know, got a bit of flexibility, it will fit. Generally, the cases for the original Switch will fit the OLED. However, my girlfriend, as always, has thought as everything. She knows me really well. If there's a gadget, it needs a case, and there we go. We got an Aussie case. Now, I've used Aussie stuff in the past. I'll put a link in the description for this case. I really like it. Nice, simple, well protected. Can have the gimmicks at the top. They're the Joy-Con wrist straps or whatever they are. Cartridges there, nice little bit of elastic there, but overall it's a solid case. I would highly recommend it for a Switch OLED. Final bit I want to talk about before putting a star rating on it is you've got to be careful if you get a new Switch to make sure you transfer your stuff properly. So you've got to go into system settings, user, transfer user. There's loads of guides online. But you've got to make sure you do it on the new and the old Switch console to send your user from your old Switch to your new Switch. Why you got to do that? Because you're like, oh, it's cloud safe, it's all that sort of stuff. Some games simply don't have that cloud saves. I mean, I'm talking about the Pokemon games for a start. You don't want to lose those saves. The other thing is Animal Crossing, which is a right old pain, but you can do it. There is, if you go to the eStore and search for Animal Crossing, there's a island transfer app which can do it, but you've got to make sure you do it right. And one thing I will get clear, it is not just as simple as taking your SD card out of your old Switch, sticking it into your new Switch, and away you go. It simply just doesn't work like that. I've tried loads of little ways online. I've never found a successful way. So unfortunately, after transferring your saves and your save data using transfer user over to your new console, you are going to have to re-download and reinstall all your games. There's no way of getting around it, so don't bother wasting your time like I did. Hours and hours wasted, and I've just saved you that time. So it's time to put a star rating on a Switch OLED. So what am I going to give it? Well, I'm going to give it up 5 stars out of 5 stars. I think the Nintendo Switch OLED is absolutely amazing. I could talk all day about why I love the Switch and the Switch gimmicks and the Switch concept and idea till the cows come home, but you don't want to hear all that. What I will say is it takes everything that's great about the Switch and racks it up to 10. Ultimately, I think your value on this is going to be dependent on what your position is with the Switch already. If you haven't got a Switch and you're looking to get a Switch, this is absolutely the one you want to go for. Don't go for any other model. It's going to need to be the OLED. If you're like me and you had the OG Switch and you played it to death and the battery's finally going because of all the use, I do think it is a worthy upgrade. The battery, the screen, the new dock with the Ethernet port, all nice little additions, but it really, I personally feel for me, makes a hell of a difference, that OLED screen. It really feels like an upgrade instead of just a slight improvement. So if you're looking to upgrade your old Switch, I would say, yeah, it's a good idea. However, I would say if you've recently bought a Switch, or the new Switch as they called it, with a slightly better battery that was not the OLED screen, the old screen, it might not be worth plonking another £300 down, especially if your old Switch is still in real good condition and you're still getting the most out of it. It all depends on how much you enjoy, going to get the most out of that OLED screen. For me, it's an absolute must, but I can understand for some people plonking another 300 down if you've only just done it a few months ago is not for you. So hopefully that's giving you a rough idea of whether you want to invest or not. With that in mind, I want to say if you enjoyed the video, please press the subscribe button and give it a cheeky thumbs up. It means an absolute world to me to think that over 300 of you have subscribed to my channel. It is mind-blowing. I love each and every one of you. It's a huge thank you. If you enjoyed the video, give it a cheeky thumbs up. The more thumbs up we get, the more people can see the video and hopefully make an informed choice, because that's what my channel's all about, saving you some money and getting you to make some informed choices. If you've got any questions or comments or things that I haven't covered, please post them in the comment section below. I reply to each and every comment, no matter what it is. I'll reply to it, hopefully help you out. I know a lot of people find it really useful when they're asking those questions, and they get a pretty quick reply, so feel free, post a comment right about now. And you know what I'm going to say, look after yourselves, take care of the people around you, and most importantly, stay out of trouble.